Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 27 of the Never Split Up podcast. My name's Nolan, that's Anthony, and today we have another movie review for you guys. It's been a few weeks, but we're back to doing our movie reviews, and today we have a fun one. We actually covered this on last week's episode. Check out that episode. It was our, favorite summer horror movies that we like to watch during the summer. So it was just, we compiled a list of that. So check that out because summer's in full swing now. We're past Memorial Day, and happy summer, everyone. We're that much closer to Halloween and the fall, so that's always nice. But for now, we are covering the cult classic 80s slasher Sleepaway Camp. How you doing today, Ant?
I'm doing good. How's it going?
Going good. It's going good. I'm really excited to cover this one. This is a fun movie. I always have fun watching this, and I think we're going to have a fun with this, just talking about the different, actors and characters and scenes and kills in this movie. You can't not have fun watching this movie. This is like the epitome of like 80s slashers.
Yes, it's definitely an 80s movie, you can tell, but that's what makes it so special.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now,
it's like trapped in that time, and you'll never be able to get out of it once you watch it.
Yeah, now this movie has spawned quite a few sequels that I was not aware of until recently. Do you know how many movies in this franchise there are? Like at least 4, right?
Yes. So there's the original, obviously, the most successful one, and there's actually 4 sequels.
4, okay.
But there's only, I don't think, just watch the second and third one. The other 2 are pure trash, like direct to VHS video, like trash.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to watch it. But I have fun with part 2 and 3, like back to back every time. I would do a little binge and maybe forget about part 4 and 5.
Okay. I adore this.
2 and 3 are good.
Yeah, I adore this first one. I've seen the second one maybe once or twice, but I don't even think I've seen the third one, and definitely not the fourth one, so that'll be good.
Okay. Yeah, don't watch the fourth one.
Well, I'm kind of like you. I'm a completionist, so I feel like I owe it to the franchise. Didn't they bring back like some characters for the fourth one? Apparently.
Return to Sleepaway Camp. They brought back Felissa Rose, but it was it was not good.
Okay.
Part 2 and 3 are like so campy fun. It just like takes the 80s and just ramps it up to like pure camp, and the kills are fucking crazy in the 2 sequels. And Angela's played by Pamela Springsteen, Bruce Springsteen's sister. In this 2 sequels. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Doesn't get more 80s than that. So okay, awesome. Well, before we dive in, we did announce it last week, but we'll announce it again for those of you that didn't listen to last week's episode. Definitely check that out. We ran the Final Girls poll. We wanted to see who came out on top. I had Laurie Strode as my number 1 final girl. You had Sydney Prescott. So we ran a little fun poll. We actually got a really good response, but unfortunately for me, Sydney Prescott won like in a landslide. It wasn't even close. She got a ton of votes. So Anthony won that poll. So he'll get the advantage today. He'll get to pick, I guess, who goes first with the Never Split Up moments and then with our scores. So we'll have a little fun with that. Anything else before we dive into this movie that you wanted to say or announce?
No, just make sure you guys check out that Final Girls episode. It was a really cool, fun ranking. I think we both had some interesting picks. And then again, last week we did a fun kickoff summer kind of episode on our must-watch summer horror movies that if you guys need any suggestions for the next couple months, wouldn't hurt checking that video out. And I actually did forget, I'm embarrassed, but I forgot to include like one of my favorite movies on that list because I guess it's just part of me. I don't even think to bring it up, but it's The Lost Boys. I watch it like several times throughout the summer. So I didn't bring it up in the episode, but it's literally my second favorite vampire movie of all time and one of my favorite summer movies. So add that to your summer list too. But yeah, those were 2 fun episodes, a little bit different. The summer one wasn't really a ranking. We're just kind of like having a natural conversation about movies we like to watch during the summer. So it's very low key, laid back. So yeah, check that one out.
For sure. Why don't we get right into it? Do you want to do a little synopsis, break down the cast?
For sure.
We're going into spoilers now, so definitely check this movie out, guys. If you like slashers, if you like camp, I'm sure you've seen this movie, but if not, go check it out and then come back and listen along. But if you don't want to be spoiled, stop now.
Do you want to give a little blurb about like our quick opinions before we get into spoilers? Because obviously,
yeah, why
if
don't
you guys haven't seen this movie,
well,
like,
why don't you go through the
watch.
cast and stuff first, and then
Okay,
we'll
I'll do that.
into our like quick overall thoughts for people that haven't seen it. To maybe
cool.
like recommend or not recommend it. I don't know how you feel. This is blind, so when we do our reviews, we don't know how each other feels, so we're kind of reacting in real time. But yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, cool. All right, I'll give you a synopsis first, like I always do. So it's obviously Sleepaway Camp. It came out in 1983. Emphasis on the 83. It's very 80s movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you a little synopsis. Angela Baker, a shy, traumatized young girl, is sent to summer camp with her cousin. Shortly after her arrival, anyone with sinister or less than honorable intentions toward her get their comeuppance. Well, that actually gave a little bit away. It's directed by Robert Hiltzik, if I pronounced that right. It was written by him too, and it stars obviously one of the, I would say, semi-horror icons, Felissa Rose. She's in a few horror movies. B movie queen, I would say. So she plays the star Angela Baker, and then we have a slew of a bunch of kids because we're at a camp, and we have some choice adults who are not very nice in this movie as well. Everyone, a character in this movie, besides like a couple people other than Angela and Ricky, are like the worst type of human beings ever. Ever.
Yeah.
I didn't realize. Every time I watch, I'm like, damn, these people are so nasty.
Oh yeah, I will.
And the adults are like, ugh.
I will say, everyone who gets it in this movie deserved to die for sure. I mean, there was no. I mean, other than I don't want to get into it, but too much. But there were some, I guess, kids that got it. That they're just kids. But in terms of the adults, like all the adults suck pretty much.
Oh yeah,
except for maybe one or two that I can think of, and they ended up living. So yeah.
I was gonna say there's actually like before we get into our thoughts, I was thinking about it, and mostly it's like the guys who are like assholes, but like a lot of the adult, like the camp counselors who are the men, like they were pretty nice, and there's just one really nasty. I think her name is Meg. Camp counselor for a girl. Oh my god, she's horrible. And the adults, like the actual adults who aren't even teenagers, they're even worse. Like this is horrible.
I know. Yeah.
Mel, don't even get me started on that kitchen cook guy. Like, oh my god, literally, like, why is he at a camp with kids? But anyway, so want to give your quick thoughts? Oh, and Ricky's my boy. Ricky's like the best character in this entire movie.
Oh, he's awesome. I love Ricky. Who couldn't?
He stands up for.
Yes.
Oh my god, I love Ricky.
I love him. Stand-up cousin, stand-up guy. I know.
He doesn't take shit from anybody. But yeah, let's get into our quick little thoughts because you really can't talk about this movie without spoilers, so we want to just either give a recommendation or not.
Yeah, just real quick. Everybody talks about this ending. This is what the movie is known for. For me, when I first watched this movie, obviously the ending is what stuck with me, but as I watched this movie over and over, that's actually not the reason I love this movie anymore. It's total camp, like you said, it's total 80s, but the special effects are awesome, like total like cheesy and over the top, but they're really cool, and they're mostly, I think they're pretty much all practical. There's no like, they're all practical. Especially the first death. I mean, that's pretty iconic. Again, not to spoil anything, but the first death is really, so you really start with a bang. And then even the kills that you don't really see. There's one kill that's iconic that you don't really see that has a prop involved. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but so the kills are awesome. And then more importantly, the reason I love this movie so much, and I say love, like it's not an all-timer for me, guys, just to spoil it. It's just we both love slashers, and it's right up our alley. So I have a soft spot for this movie, and I always go back to it because, like I said, not only is it the kills, but it's the writing. I really love the writing in this movie. It's very believable, and I think part of that is how candid the kids are and how they curse at each other, and they're like assholes to each other, and the counselors curse at the kids, and the kids curse back at the counselors, and they're potty mouths, but it's so believable. I hate when movies kind of like have like fake dialogue. Like it's like kids wouldn't do that. Like, you know, the scene where they're throwing the water balloons, like that scene always sticks out to me in terms of dialogue. It's so believable. So what this movie does so well is it really does, and we talked about this last week for the summer movies episode, it really immerses you in that camp. At least it does for me. And it really makes me want to go to summer camp because even though there's a lot of assholes in this movie, it does look like a fun time. And it really does a great job of just kind of putting you in that camp with the characters. And it's it doesn't feel like, especially for all the kid actors that they have, it doesn't feel like they're acting. It feels very, very natural. And kudos to you said the director also wrote this movie, right?
Yes.
So I mean, double kudos to him for writing a brilliant script and then also directing all of these child actors, because it's very natural and it flows well. So I recommend this movie, especially if you like slashers. If you're a fan of, you know, the Friday the 13th movies and, you know, corny 80s horror movies, it's not over the top scary like most of these 80s slashers. So like if you're, you know, not into getting like super spooked, you can still watch this movie. It is pretty graphic in some parts. Like I said, there's a lot of practical effects, but if you can get over that, then I think you'll have a good time with this movie if you don't take it too seriously. And the ending is iconic. I mean, it's so iconic. Even people that haven't seen this movie, I think, might recognize the ending just because of how iconic it is in that final shot of the movie. So, yeah, I recommend it. How about you?
Okay, cool. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is not a great movie. But it's an 80s movie and and I would not want it any other way. It's so cringy. Like it's cringe to the max, but that's what kind of makes me fall in love with it a little bit. I would never watch this movie if it wasn't during the summer season. So if you're going to watch it, you can only watch it during the summer. What you said about the kids, I would think it's true because they're also the actors are age appropriate. It's not like 25 or 30-year-olds playing the kids. It's actual kids. You know what I mean? They're in their teens, pre-teens or teens, and the camp counselors are even like, you know, pretty young. So I just think that it's a nice time capsule to like 1983. And every time I watch it, I'm like, damn, like it would have been cool to like just be out in the middle of nowhere at that camp. Maybe not. I'm not this camp because people are actually horrific, but like just the vibe in general. I really enjoy it. The kills are pretty cool. It has the typical, you know, trying to copy like, you know, the Halloween POV shit a lot. You know, everyone tried to mimic Halloween or Friday the 13th. That was just, yeah, exactly. But I do have a lot of fun with it. The ending is an all-timer horror ending. Like I said, I don't love it, but it's something that I have to watch every summer. I watch this and then the two sequels back to back. It's a fun movie. I mean, you're not gonna leave being like, oh my god, that was like cinema. But you're like, oh, that's a fun slasher movie that hopefully you have a few beers with it and watch it. And then if you haven't seen it before, you might be gasping at the end. So just watch it. It's fun. I mean, don't expect anything insanely serious. I mean, don't go into this looking for a serious horror movie. It's a cheesy 80s slasher, but to its credit, that's all it's trying to be. But it does, I don't think the director knew, he does have a lot of themes in this movie that, you know, I don't know if the movie would be made today or not. With all the shit that's thrown in here, we'll get into it. But yeah, you know, I've seen some, not to get anything away, but some people, you know, look down on it for certain things that they think it's saying, and some people admire it, you know, for it. So I just think that let the movie be the movie. You know, it came out in the 80s. Judge it from when it came out, not from today's, you know, oversensitive landscape we're in. But yeah, I have a fun time with this movie. I would say definitely check it out, guys, and watch it if you haven't. And if you've seen it, put it in your summer rotation again, because you feel the summer vibes in this with the camp. And Ricky's my boy, MVP of the movie.
Yeah. This is, I totally agree with you. So we both recommend it. And just before we dive in, just like one final thought for me is, even if you've seen this before, definitely watch it again, everyone, because the more I watch this movie, it's not like a normal slasher, at least for me. I don't know how it is for you, Ant, but normal, like, cheesy 80s slashers, I'll watch, and I'm literally just waiting for the kills most of the time. Like we talked about this with the Friday movies, like, the characters are pretty irrelevant. It's all about Jason. But this movie really does put all the kids and the counselors, like, in the forefront, so you can enjoy this movie overall, not just with the kills. The kills obviously are a necessity, but I like this movie more and more, and it's actually one of the more rewatchable movies, I would say, for this subgenre and for this time period, because it's so focused on Angela is the main and Ricky, who's an awesome character. He's an awesome cousin, and the kid who's trying to get with Angela. Like, it has all these different interconnected.
Peter.
Yeah, and fucking Meg, who's trying to get with the old guy who runs the camp. Like,
God, that's
it's got all these interconnected like things going on, and like I said, it really does immerse you, and it brings these characters to the forefront. So when a character dies, you feel something. It's not just like a body like being killed, like that character already. So usually you're cheering because they're all terrible people, but you do feel something because you feel like the character when they're dying. So I just wanted to point that out. That's how I feel about the movie.
okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it's smart because, I mean, we'll get into it, but we're following a character who is kind of like, for what we think is a certain reason, is very like reserved and quiet. So it's kind of like the layers are slowly peeling back as the movie goes on. She's starting to get more vocal. So it's a smart way for the director to have that be a little mystery with this character who you're feeling for, because not only did she go through something traumatic at the beginning of the movie, but she's getting like just destroyed and bullied this entire movie. Like, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, can she catch a break?
Yeah.
This is like borderline, like not even just bullying, it's like severe abuse.
Yeah, from
like,
counselors too. Like, not even just from kids.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
Fucking Meg.
And actually, the kid's name's not Peter, it's Paul. But she has a little love interest too, and she has her cousin there with her. So it's kind of like a lot's going on besides in between the kills, where you're kind of like, made to look at her a certain way, and then shit happens, and it's just it's smart in that way. It's not
you got Ricky who likes Judy because they hooked up last summer, but Judy's a terrible person, and something's gonna happen, and you love Ricky, and you're like screaming at the TV like fuck Judy. It's like it's got all those little cute stories to me. Makes it more endearing for me, I guess.
Yeah, it's like it just adds to the cheese of the '80s, but it worked in the best way. Like, to me, when I say it's not negative when I say cheese. You guys know I like my cheesiness, and this movie is built for that.
Yeah.
So it just adds to all of it. You have the cheesy music, even the romantic music, and then it just goes back to the over the top horror score. It's just like pure '80s. Like, I would not like. That's what I'm saying. Not because of some of the other stuff that we'll get into, but a movie like this will not get made today because it's just captured in that moment and it just belongs there. That's why I like to go back to it, because it transports me back to the 80s. I wasn't alive during the 80s, but I feel like I got the vibes of it from this movie. So that's what does make it special to me.
Awesome. And quick shout out.
So let's get into it because
before we get into it, quick shout out to my fiance Jackie. When we first started dating, she actually introduced me to this movie, so I never really watched this
I didn't know that.
I think I might have seen it as a kid, but I didn't remember anything about this movie, and she's like, oh, you don't remember the ending? You don't remember? So we watched it together, and I quickly fell in love with the cheesiness, and now I've seen it a few times since, so shout out to Jackie for watching it with me.
Cool.
She watched it as a kid, and it stuck with her, and she made sure I watched it too, so that was a few years back.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah,
and
I actually turned this movie on to my good friend who's big into 80s. He grew up in the 80s, and he had never seen this movie, but he loves horror movies, and I recommended it to him, and he loves it because it just, again, it transports him back to the 80s. So he instantly fell in love with the movie too. So guys, if you love 80s, you somehow haven't seen this movie, because it's not the biggest movie in the world. It's not a household movie, so chances are a lot of people haven't seen this, even though they are fans of slashers. Definitely give it a shot. It was 1983, so it was like right after Halloween and stuff, and it has a lot of those like POV tropes and stuff, but it's still just a fun time. It's really good.
Yeah, for sure. We have to get into it because we can't talk about it anymore without doing spoilers. So yeah, guys, check it out for a fun time. You might, if you don't like cheesiness, maybe it's not your vibe. You want more serious horror movie, this one's not for you. But if you want a stupid, fun, cheesy movie for the summer, you can crack open a beer, like pop some popcorn. You're not gonna, like you said, you're not gonna go wrong with it. But just don't expect any masterpieces.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's get right into it, because talk about cheesy. The first scene is just like total cheese fest again with the boat.
The girl on the fucking water skis.
Yes,
she was going for an Oscar. She was going for her own. She thought she was trying to get an Oscar in that movie.
Oh man,
I was dying laughing. I was like, "This is pure camp," but it's just like she's like, "Just stop!" And she's just I'm like, "What is happening right now?"
That was like her 15 minutes of fame.
So, oh my! And she made every fucking minute count, man. I was like, "Holy shit, this is horrible." I love it.
The guy on the beach who you find out later on, that's the same guy, right? That's
yes.
Okay.
So we have when she has her like flashback dream, whatever later.
Yeah. He's standing on the beach like in utter shock. And then you have the shot. So basically, what happens is, it's a dad and he's got his son and daughter.
His boyfriend. Yeah.
Well, he's on the beach, but he's got his son and daughter on the sailboat, and they flip over the boat, horsing around, and a fucking boat who is like a mile away
Reckless.
somehow doesn't see them, even though it's a big white boat that capsized and runs them over. So
I love how they're just screaming like turn. It's still like they're so far away, but they're just not turning. And he actually just puts on the pedal to go quicker to kill him. I'm like, oh my god, this is murder.
So you hear them scream like, oh, I think you hear one of them scream like two of them. Like they're both dead, like two of them are dead, so you know one of them lives, and then you see someone floating in the water, like swimming, so you know someone survived. But it's supposed to be the son is alive, because then you flash. I guess it's like a flash forward instantly, and or not the son, the daughter, right? The daughter survived. Yeah, sorry. See, I'm already getting fucked up.
It's John and Peter who are John's the dad and Peter's the son who are supposedly killed, in this accident in the beginning.
John and Peter, yeah.
Yes.
So, Angela, who is our protagonist, our main character, survives the accident, and you get the flash forward, and it's her and her cousin Ricky. She's now living with her cousin and her aunt, and her uncle. Aunt Martha, who fucking icon.
She is the villain of this movie,
creepy.
Man.
Is that lady?
She is so over the top.
Desiree Gould, because she, with the limited screen time that she gets, man, like she's creepy. I don't know what, like her inner dialogue when she's like is saying her inner dialogue out, what's it called? Out loud.
Oh yeah.
And she's like putting her finger up to her mouth. Like all of her movements are so creepy. So she definitely nailed that role. So unsettling.
Yeah, it's like flash forward 8 years after the accident with Angela, now with her cousin Ricky and his mom, Aunt Martha, and she is like, this is what I was saying when we talked about like she's like the pure. I think they were trying to show like she's like the pure embodiment of like mental illness, but they just went so over the top. It's just like, I don't know if people would frown upon that. It works for me because I don't mind. I don't judge shit. I'm not sensitive, but she has some fucking issues, man. She's fucking crazy. Literally crazy. There's no other way to describe her. She is, in my opinion, one of the villains of this movie. Her and Judy are the main villains of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She is fucked up in the head.
Yeah.
Fucked. She's like, oh, what did I forget? How can I forget this? And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this lady? She's fucking psycho.
Tied a string to her finger. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm like, what is happening right now? That already is so off-putting, that interaction.
For sure. And then, so she's sending him away to camp, and she gives them physicals, gives them like permission slips with their physicals, and she's like, oh, I hope they don't
tell them how you got this.
Yeah, don't tell them. Yeah, exactly. And he's like, even though I am a doctor, but still don't tell them. So something's off, right from the bat. Like, this lady is not okay, and something's gonna go down in one way or another. So and then we go right to the camp, right? They pretty much arrive at the camp, and we're there for the rest of the movie, pretty much, right?
Yeah, so she ships them off, and then we're at the camp. Yeah.
Cool. I love this scene.
Again, Ricky's awesome just in general, man. Just even though in the opening scene, he's just kind of like, well, my fucking mom's crazy. He's not even hiding it. He's like, all right, Angela, we got to put up with this shit for a couple more minutes. So they get to the camp right away.
I love this scene where all the kids are like running to their bunks and stuff, like from the bus. They're all like running down the hill. Like, it just really shows the excitement of like the first day of summer camp again. It like, I wanted that as
For
a
sure.
kid. So, you know.
Yeah, great summer vibes. I mean, it's their typical like lake vibe with big piece of land. It's just like I would think that I would be like excited as them as a kid at that age, running the summer camp like that.
And it's got some cool establishing shots too of the setting and the camp. It has some good wide shots and of the lake and stuff. It's a beautiful piece of property. So it definitely looks like a haven for outdoorsy kids and people who want to, spend time in a nice campground. Definitely, right. Like when you think about the original, like Friday the 13th, definitely a bigger camp than like something like that. Like that camp was small compared to this camp. This camp has a lot of space. And it's right. Like the lake is bigger and everything, so definitely like kind of wide open out in the middle of nowhere. So
yeah, for sure. But I don't know who's hiring these fucking employees at this place, but they need to be fired because these are the most despicable human beings like of all time in this movie. Yeah. Almost like this is horrible. We got a fucking pedophile like molester Artie who is like when they arrive, I guess. His cook friend, the guy's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. He's like, and he says something like, well, they're never too young. I'm like, what? There's no such thing as too young. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
He makes the joke and he says it out in the open and they all start laughing. Like,
yeah, I'm like, this is, like, first of all,
so that's
horrible.
So this guy's right. a pedophile and you just like let it happen? Like, what?
Right.
I never understood that scene because then when things unfold later on, they don't really address that again, like whether or not the other cooks know. But they have to know because he's literally making jokes. They laugh
it off.
Yeah, exactly. And shout out to Robert Earl Jones, real quick. He's one of the cooks. James Earl Jones' father is in this movie.
Okay,
so that's a cool little Easter egg. If you're a James Earl Jones fan, that's his father, and he plays he becomes the head chef after the head chef gets it. He's like the first kill of the movie, but he's one of the despicable people in the kitchen staff.
Ugh, it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's really so bad.
Yeah,
and even the head guy, Mel, the old guy, like, I'm like, oh my god, he's not any better.
Yeah, so he's the head of the entire camp. He definitely gives, total, what's his name, the mayor of Amity Island vibes, trying to downplay everything that's happening. Just like a total sleazeball. Total.
He might be worse because he actually gets to the point where he's like, "Oh, we can't tell these parents that kids are getting murdered." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "We can't." I'm like, so he has like proof that people are dead and being murdered. Yeah. He's like, "No, we got to cover this shit up." I'm like, "What? That's such a lawsuit."
And then when things definitely unravel, he only cares about himself. He's like, "Oh, this place is going under. Like, I'm gonna lose my job." Like, he doesn't care at all about the victims or at all. And
nope.
I think that's when one of the counselors is like, oh, well, let's just like kind of ride it out and then we'll deal with that later. But like he's having a meltdown about himself. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's fucking.
He's like, I'm ruined. I'm like, dude, you have fucking this is done. Yeah, he's pretty despicable too. There's not too many likable characters besides Ricky and Angela.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple. I think the Ronnie counselor dude, like the one who looks like belongs in like an 80s porno. He's a pretty nice dude.
Well, yeah, he ends up just being a nice dude. Yeah. But speaking about Ronnie and 80s porno, that first scene he's in with that fucking outfit, man, like with those short shorts and that bulge.
Every friggin' scene in this.
Especially this scene. He's really packing, I would say. Like it's hard to miss. And the way he goes up, because Angela's not, I guess, eating her food, so they ask him to address it, and he's like standing right next to Angela, like
I know, like in her face,
package, like right in her face. I'm like, okay, this guy's definitely a pedophile as well. But it turns out, I guess he's not.
No, he's not. Yeah,
because
no, he's not.
Well, he goes into the kitchen with Angela and he hands her off to the pedophile. So like, does he just not know? That guy?
I don't think he knows because he's literally just one of the counselors. I think the people who knew is probably Mel and the actual like his whatever kitchen staff or whatever you want to call it.
Even if he doesn't know, that's still kind of sketchy. It's like
you don't leave a fucking kid with this. I mean, what seems to be a creepy dude making snarky comments. Ugh.
Because he knows the guy personally. Like he he says, I forget what's the guy's first name. This creepy guy we keep talking about.
Artie.
Artie. He's like, hey, Artie, how's it going? So like they definitely know each other. He's definitely worked at this camp before, but I guess he just doesn't know that he's a pedophile. So
he's a kid. He doesn't care enough to look into it. I guess he's a typical teenager, but he's a nice. By the end, he does stand up a bit. But yeah, God, the stupidity in this movie too with some of these people. But let's talk about Judy before we get into our first kill.
Okay,
she's like, I would say the other main. I mean, to me, like I said, it's Aunt Martha and Judy as the main antagonist, in my opinion. This is just a despicable girl. She's the worst. She's like a bully to the max, and you can tell they try to give her like. There's a scene in the woods later in the movie where she like kind of tears up. I'm like, I have no sympathy for you, girl. Sorry.
What scene is that?
After she kisses Paul, and then Ricky catches them, and then Angela sees them, and then like Paul runs off, and like, doesn't give her another like care in the world, and then like Ricky says like "fuck you" to her, and then like she's like "fuck you," but then she's left alone in the woods, and she kind of starts tearing up. I'm like, sorry, girl, you deserve that shit. Get it, girl.
I actually don't even really remember her tearing up. I was probably like, just like, well, save your crocodile teals.
But then she just goes back right next to the next scene and just like starts bullying again. And it's not even like, I mean, obviously bullying is never tolerated, but it's like so harsh. It's not like just fucking around. It's just like really, really mean. And like, she's like borderline obsessed with Angela and like just making sure this girl like
for no reason. Like, so like she's so, and this is pretty much every bully. They're not. They have like self-confidence issues and self-esteem issues.
You can tell she's insecure.
She is to the max insecure. I mean, so her and Ricky had like a fling, I guess, like the summer before, but now she's like talking to these older boys and like dismisses Ricky, and then sees Angela as like an easy target because she doesn't talk, so she just focuses all of her like bullying on Angela. Like Angela literally did nothing to this woman, and like is just trying to like keep to herself. And yeah, she's very, like you said, despicable, just so horrible, like over the top. Like, how can we write this character like the worst stereotype of a bully? And like that's
and some of the things she says, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, this is graphic. But yeah, so we are introduced to plenty of people that we definitely want to see killed. There's no shortage of that at all in this movie. And then we get our first, it's not a kill, which we'll get to that, but Artie, with again, it's a POV shot. He's in the kitchen. We should talk about what happens first with him and Angela,
because this is the climax of the disgustingness of Artie and, the whole pedophilia, because he brings her into the walk-in and he's saying all these like sexual innuendos.
I got something for you. I'm like, this is just
it's disgusting.
Oh my God.
And
he literally starts undoing his belt.
Yeah, and like
he's like,
they really like don't hold back.
No.
How do you feel about that? Was that common for the 80s or like for that time period? It was pretty common.
I think they pushed it a little bit in this movie, but back then, like, it's not as like. I mean, today they even push boundaries with some things, but back then it was just a different time, and this was never going to be a movie released on like 3,000 screens.
Yeah,
it was more limited. But they went for it. But I actually watched the special features, and thankfully, because Felissa Rose was like pretty young when she filmed this, I think she was like 13 or 14. So what they did was they filmed her reaction shots first, and they filmed him doing the buckle, like his belt, separately. Like, so she wasn't in that scene. Thank God.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
So the way they edited it together, like, obviously it's a movie magic, but like he wasn't doing that in front of her, thankfully.
That's really good to know, because you don't really think about that sometimes, how the movie and how the shots are being made. Like, you have a little girl in there, and like when she's an actress, but seeing that, even though you're acting, has got to be pretty traumatizing. Yeah. So I'm glad that they took care of her in that regard and didn't, expose her to that, because that's just disgusting.
But then Ricky saves the day because he's my boy again. Fucking Ricky, man.
Yeah, so like Ricky has more like urgency than the freaking camp counselors, like Ronnie. Like Ricky finds out like, oh, Ronnie took her into the back and she's in the kitchen alone. And he springs into action. He knows something's wrong right away.
Fucking love him.
So he walks in literally on Artie, like undoing his pants. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And totally calls him out and is able to save Angela and the guy is like obviously embarrassed and like tries to like just like, you know, shoo him out of there as quickly as possible. But
It's like, I wasn't doing anything. Blah blah blah. I'm like, oh my god, this is horrible. Please die.
yeah, so Angela lives for now, and they escape. But again, like Artie leaves the like, so they leave through the kitchen, and the kitchen staff sees it, and then Artie like comes out and is like doing his belt still, and they just like dismiss it. So they obviously know that this guy is like a predator, and they don't.
Oh,
I guess they just don't care.
Mel doesn't give a shit about anything besides making money at this camp, I guess.
Yeah, definitely Mel doesn't care, but even the kitchen staff are like, oh, yeah, well, it's just Artie. You know, we see that all the time. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
It's not
How
good.
is this camp fucking operating? How is this camp not closed down, you know?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So then we get our Artie scene, right? With the
yeah, pretty much gets right into the first kill. So Artie gets split up from the rest of the staff. He's alone in the kitchen. He's got like the biggest pot of water I have ever seen in my life. It's literally like fucking. Well, it's on a stove, so the stove has got to be like 3-4 feet tall, and then the pot itself is like got to be 4 feet high itself. It's like how long did that water take to boil? Like holy shit!
I don't fucking know.
So yeah, why don't you run through this scene for us?
So it's actually like again, it's like that we don't see any faces. We just see like an unseen figure, pretty much, and hands. That's all we really see. We don't ever see a face or a body, even really, in this scene. So this figure causes that huge ass pot to cave on him, and he gets like scalded with the boiling water. And it's a pretty cool scene because you actually see his face bubble up and shit. So that was good. And it was the perfect amount of like cheese. It was really good though. I thought it was good. Man, he deserved that fucking shit. And of course, you know, the owner Mel, he's like, oh, that was an accident. He's a fucking idiot because the guy can't talk or anything after he's in that much pain. He's all like wrapped up in bandages. The next time we see him, already
screaming.
Looks like a mummy. Yeah.
No, he's like literally screaming, and the guy is like, he is in so much pain he doesn't know how to talk. He's like in psychosis or something. That's how much pain he's in.
Yeah, so they
that
take
kind of
Artie
explains how Artie doesn't give up who the killer is. And I want to highlight, as the kill is happening, right before he slips and the water falls on him, he does see who it is. We don't see who it is, but he does say like, "What are you doing here?" or something like that.
Everybody pretty much
that's
sees
a theme.
who it is.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's a theme throughout the movie. So we know for sure that the killer is either like, you know, it's not an outside force. It's someone that,
it's not a stranger. Yeah.
It's not a stranger. So we know like one of the characters that we have been introduced to is the killer. So right away it sets up the whodunit. So you're right away trying to figure out, you know, who's doing it. And my first thought was obviously Ricky, because he just saved Angela from the cook. So I mean, my mind goes right to Ricky when I first saw this movie. Obviously he's getting revenge for Angela.
Right.
But yeah, we know it's someone that we know. It's not like a total stranger that came into the camp like a Jason Voorhees or something like that. So it definitely sets up that mystery throughout the movie. So that's an important note too.
Yes, for sure. My only thing is that at first I was thinking when I watched it, I'm like, okay, like I'm happy he lived because he has to suffer. Like make that fucker suffer with that shit.
I know.
But now when I'm also like, oh, maybe the killer should have really killed him off because who knows what he's gonna go back to his ways once he heals. Like, so just fucking finish him off.
You can't think about it too much because it's like he is the worst, most disgusting character in this movie, and he's the one who actually lives. So it kind of sucks, but at least he got to suffer, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like go back for like, yeah, suffering's good, but
it would have been nice if they did like a line at the end of the movie, like, oh, by the way, Artie died or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. He needs to get finished off, for sure.
So he's not in any of the sequels or anything?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not really like connected like that to the first one.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Yeah, so that's our first, I guess, kill set piece, but it's not real kill, so.
You like the kill? You said you like the practical effects.
Yeah, I do a lot.
Me too.
It's not my favorite, but I like it.
The bubbling effect that they had on the face, and it was like alive, the skin.
It's so good.
So good, yeah, I agree with you.
So then we go back to probably just torturing Angela some more. I think they too, like, actually, these are the two times those two dude campers I think their names are Kenny and Mike or something. They're like kind of like tormenting her, like because she's not talking. Like, why don't you talk? You're like, you
Mm.
fucker. They say some like crazy shit to her, and then Kenny is one of the guys but that's important because he's I think our next kill after they go to the lake and shit because Kenny's under the boat and shit. So that's gonna be our next kill coming up soon. And of course, Mel says that's accidental too. He's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So Angela's pretty much getting tormented again in that scene, and so we get to see she's getting isolated even more. But again, in that scene, who comes? Ricky and his friend Paul. This time, they come and they fight with them to protect Angela because Ricky is just
Yeah.
a hero.
And then, Oblivious Ronnie, Oblivious Ronnie, that's what I'm going to call him from now on. He is in there the entire time, and he sees that Ricky was standing up for his cousin, but still reprimands Ricky and, like, pulls him off and says, stop cursing. Like, what are you doing? Like, dude, what are you about the guys that were harassing Angela? You're not going to fucking reprimand them? So, yeah, fucking Ronnie. He's got, like, I guess a good heart. Like, he wants to do right, but you're oblivious, man. Like, you're just, yeah. We fucking talk about a meathead,
I know. Yeah, so then they all kind of like disperse, and that's when you get all the teens at the water. I think they try to go skinny dipping, but it's only the dudes who end up going skinny dipping because the girls don't want to. At least it's fair in this movie. You get a female gaze, but you definitely get the male gaze too in this movie because there's a lot of both in this movie. So
for sure,
they definitely keep it evenly split for 80s.
Real quick before we jump ahead too much, I have to talk about one of my favorite sequences, and that's like the baseball scene. I think that happens right before this kill.
That never ends.
That never ends, I know, but I've learned to embrace it, and it really is a good example of like how awesome the writing is in this movie because like talk about, insults being thrown and kids like with foul mouths. It's fucking great. And it's got like probably my favorite line in the movie, delivered by Ricky, where
of course
I forget who it is who's at bat, but he's like I think it's Bill. The guy's name's Bill, and he's like he's up to bat, and Ricky's kind of jawing at him, and he's like, "Eat shit and die, Ricky," and then Ricky's like, "Eat shit and live, Bill." I fucking love that so much. Eat shit and live. That's so.
I
iconic.
love Ricky so much. He's the best, and his team wins because, of course, Ricky and Paul on that team.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, they're winning. They fucking destroy it. I just love
the
how
good guys win. Yeah,
I love how it like they're at the game and it cuts, and then you're like, okay, it's the next scene, but it just cuts back to the game. And it's still going.
Yes, it's
so
like a long fadeaway cut, and you're like, all right, we're done with this, and then it cuts.
So
it's like
funny.
The next inning. It's like, wait, what? We're still here? I know.
It's so stupid, but it's so good.
I laugh every time.
I caught that. I'm like,
it shouldn't be in the movie. It's like a bonus scene.
I'm like the director. I was like, damn, I really want to get another baseball scene. So he just cuts right back to it.
That's the reason he made this movie. It's for an excuse to have a scene like that. Yeah,
because it doesn't even like cut away and go to like the girls. He just cuts and then comes back like right to the game again. It doesn't even go to a different scene. It's just so stupid. It's so bad, but it's so good. It's part of the magic about this movie.
Exactly.
Like, it's a part of the magic.
You said it perfectly. This movie cannot be recreated. It's stuck in a time capsule. It is perfect the way it is. If they ever try to like do a requel of this movie or like a remake, it will bomb because you can't recreate the magic that this movie brought and the time capsule of 1983. It's just, it can't be replicated. So
I agree 100%. And yeah, that does crack me up every time.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Let's get to the next kill.
Yeah, sorry. This movie is kind of like all over the place for me, but I'm pretty sure Kenny's the one who dies next under that little like canoe.
I get mixed up with the order of the kills too, but I think you're right. I think that's the second.
Because
kill.
I think Kenny's trying to like hook up with a girl, and then I think the girl leaves or something, and he goes in the water, like falls under the canoe, and then the killer pops up, and then he says again like, "Who? What are you doing here?" And then he just gets dunked.
Yeah.
Cool scene because it's like not in focus because it's so dark. So you just see the head pop up, and it's hard to talk about. We're in spoilers though, but so it's kind of. Was it? Wait, the first time you watched it was pretty recent. Did you figure it out like right away? Well, you thought it was Ricky. You said
no. I didn't figure it out right away.
Okay.
Why? What about this scene?
I was just curious because like body types and all that. Like I was just curious, like for a first time viewer.
They really throw you for a loop with that because they have like different hands in different scenes, and then of course this shot. the what's it called, the Judy scene where he's in the doorway, that's clearly not the killer at the end. So like once that scene happened, I was like, okay, so it is Ricky. So no, I was kind of thrown for a loop. I didn't guess it.
Okay.
It was just,
there's some people have
really,
theories about the killers, that there's more than one.
It's really hard to guess this movie if you've never seen it. I mean, it's so ridiculous, the twist, but it's obviously intentional. Like,
right.
When I first saw it, I was like, really? That's what we're doing? But, you know, obviously, the more you think about it, the more you embrace it. But it's pretty hard to guess, I would say. Yeah. I don't
well, it's
know.
Kind of like
especially
like
as the movie goes on.
It comes down to one of the two, really. At that, like you think it's because it's either she's getting bullied, so she's doing it, or he's doing it because of his cousins getting bullied. So that's like the only two.
Yeah, because you're thinking about that though. It's like, I thought they were gonna throw like a wild card in there and just have it be someone like completely random. So I was kind of, I guess, overthinking it at the end.
Okay.
But no, as of this moment, I was probably still on Ricky. I don't really remember because I've seen it like 4 or 5 times since then. So it's kind of hard to remember.
I think I kind of like, I kind of knew where it was going after that opening scene with Aunt Martha and the thing, but it didn't bother me. But I didn't realize like the twist was going to be the twist. I just had a feeling I knew who the killer was.
Okay.
And fun fact, I mean, Ricky's actually the hands of the killer and the boy in the door, like filming what they used him as an actor to do it. Because the mother of the actual killer did not want her kid filming the killing scenes. So that's why Ricky is.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
The mother in real life didn't want.
Since she didn't, she didn't want the hands to be used, I guess.
Yeah, she didn't want her to like actually like do the act. She didn't care about the hands. She didn't want her to do the act, and also the killer's hands looked too feminine, so it gave it away. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
what did you think of this kill overall? This sequence.
I like the lead up to it. Kill's pretty lame, but the lead up and the suspense is one of the more suspenseful moments.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually one of the more suspenseful kills. I would say when he's underneath the canoe.
Right.
And you don't know what's going on. He thinks Angela's around, and he's still like, or not Angela. Who's he out there on the boat with? There's so many
some
characters.
Dude, I don't know how you know names because I don't.
I have the cast pulled up, and that's the only reason. But he still thinks maybe it's Mary. I don't know.
One of the fucking bitches.
One of them. And he's still like talking to her, but she's already on the beach. It's like, dude, you're all alone. Like, what? It's so funny.
I will say, the discovery of his body, it looks pretty cool though. Like the dead body, looks the aftermath looks cool and like gnarly.
Yeah, they really did the dead bodies really good in this movie with the special effects. They have the snakes coming out of his mouth, the water snakes. It's so over the top, but so cool.
I love it though. Yeah. But so Mel, of course, is like, oh, it's an accident. Let's not tell anybody. I'm like, this is like horrible. This guy needs to be arrested right now.
Yeah, because the police, like they were, I guess, there for the first kill, but it was like a kitchen accident. But now they're
it wasn't even a kill, so
yeah, it wasn't even a kill too. But now that we have a dead body, the police are like kind of investigating. So it's him and Ronnie are talking to the detective or the cop, and he's like trying to get to the bottom of it. And Ronnie's like, he's trying to downplay it, and Ronnie's like, I don't know. Like, he was a pretty good swimmer. I don't know, like, if it was an accident. And then Mel is just like, no, like, shut the fuck up. It was an accident. We need to move on and not talk about this. Yeah.
Well, Ronnie's like, should we maybe, like, notify the parents and do something? He's like, no, it was an accident. The cop was like, well, I don't know it's an accident until we get the full autopsy. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't really know what the deal is here. So, and he's like, oh, we'll be fine. I'm like, okay, Mel. These deaths are on your hand from now on, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
So then I think we get this scene, I guess Paul's starting to take a liking to Angela. I think he asks her, like, to, like, go to the movie with him or something. Like, and he, like, kisses her a little bit. I think this is when we get to that when they're kind of, like, doing the flirty vibes. And she's into it a little bit, too. She's shy, but she's into it. And then after that, I think more campers pick on Angela. I don't know their names. Two dudes again, I think. But the one dude is the one who's killed next, which is my favorite kill scene in the movie.
Real quick, I want to highlight the scumbag that is Meg, the counselor.
Oh, she's horrible.
Because Meg is like pretty much just as bad as Judy because she's older. And I have a theory that they're like related, that like she's Judy's older sister. I don't think that's like confirmed in the movie at all, but the way that like Meg is like oddly close with Judy, even though Judy's a kid, I always assume that they're like related somehow, but they never explicitly say that. But Meg is a real fucking asshole because Judy will like go to Meg and say, Angela's not talking to me, and then Meg will go up to Angela and be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? Fucking talk to me, and get like pissed at her. And it eventually climaxes in her throwing her in the water.
Oh, that was horrible. Her and Judy.
Yeah, but like, dude, Judy is a bully, but she's a kid. But like Meg is like what, 17 years old, 18 years old, is supposed to be like a counselor, and she's like just as big a bully. Like, fuck Meg. And then on top of that, she has this weird fucking romance with Mel. And,
oh my god, it's horrible. First of all, that's another
weird.
Fucking talking about pedophile and that. Like this is all inappropriate. Like everything that's happening is so inappropriate. Yeah. Mel is like a 65-year-old dude, and she's probably 17.
Yeah.
Like 16, 17. Like that's just, and she's into it.
Yeah.
Like this is fucking weird.
She's the one who goes to Mel and says, I have the night off. Let's like basically fuck.
Yeah. And she doesn't even tell anybody. She's like, they're like, who are you going to meet? She's like, no one. I'm not telling you. I'm like, oh, this is fucking weird. You have like a bunch of guys your age. Go sleep with one of them.
Yeah, right? And she's like in the shower, like all like, oh.
And it's not like Mel's like I don't even understand it. It's like he's like grimy and gross looking too. It's like, I don't understand what's the appeal.
I think it was just, again, the director really just emphasizing how terrible these people are.
Oh, yeah, horrible.
Just all around the board, yeah.
And it's so weird because she even gets, like, annoyed and jealous at Angela when, like, she's, like, talking to a couple boys. She's like, if you're not going to talk with us, you're not allowed to talk to anyone, including boys. I'm like, you're jealous of, like, 13-year-olds flirting? Like, you're almost an adult girl. Like, get over it.
I know.
She's horrible. They're both horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. It's just Judy has some of those lines that I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah,
she's horrible. She's so bad. But yeah, so a couple dudes pick on Angela, and then we get, I can't remember the guy's name. I think it might be Billy, maybe. Who's picking on? There's too many people in this movie for me to remember. But he's taking a shit. And this is when he gets killed. It's such a fucking awesome kill.
You like this kill? This might be my least favorite kill.
Really? I like it a lot because you don't again see it. You just see the slowly they let the beehive over the top, and you just hear it, and you hear him yelling and screaming. And when he pushes out again, it's so, because I think sometimes when you don't see it, like you envision something more terrible happening than what maybe is. But then when he falls out and you see the body, like, okay, that's pretty worse than I envisioned, maybe, because it's fucking his face is like destroyed and he's the best. Like, I don't know about like the act of the kill might not be my favorite, but the body, like the visual of the body after, is grossest of the movie.
Okay, I understand why you say that. I think they took it a little too far with the
really?
body.
No, I love it
because bees don't. I mean, what kind of bees are these? That was a little too
killer
excessive.
Bees.
And the kill itself really just pisses me off because it's such an avoidable death. All he has to do is just like kick the beehive under the stall or like throw it back out the window. I mean, yeah, but when you're panicking because there's a beehive while you're taking a shit, your first instinct is to get rid of the beehive, no? Like, and he just like, I don't know. It's just like one of those never split up moments where I'm like, really, you're being that fucking stupid? It's a little too over the top for me. I think it crosses the line a little too much.
That's over the top for you in this movie? Sleepaway Camp?
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. I don't hate it, but it like every time I'm just really, dude, you're that fucking stupid. And then the special effects at the end with the body are like, they're overdone. I mean, they're all so overdone, but awesome. It's like, it's really, so awesome. Bees did that? Okay, we're going with that. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
Once you get to this kill, you're kind of like fully settled into the movie, and you like are like, okay, this is the type of movie that we're getting. It's not going to get any more
take
realistic.
It or leave it.
Yeah.
Take it or leave
exactly.
it. So after this kill, though, Mel actually thinks that there might be a killer, finally, in the camp. I mean, no fucking shit. But so he's kind of like, oh, no, maybe there's a killer. Then he really is like, I'm really done. But he still doesn't call the fucking parents of all these, like, victims. Mm-hmm. We have 2 kids dead. Artie's fucking in the hospital.
Did you pick up on this? So I think he's again talking to Ronnie again, and they're going over all the kids, and he makes a comment. I think Ronnie makes a comment like, "We still have 25 kids here." So it almost sounds like parents started picking up their kids.
I think he was just saying like after the body count because he's such an idiot he can't keep track of like that there are only 2 kids that died. That's how stupid I think he is. He's like, how many do we have left?
Because
how many
they
do we
talk
have left?
about they talk about consolidating and everything because they have less numbers. But okay, maybe that's just him being an airhead.
Literally, I think that's what it is.
Okay.
But so what's next? I guess Angela and Paul continue to like kind of grow like closer, but they also get a little strained because Paul wants to like not touch her inappropriately. He just wants to get more like physical and emotional with her, and she's kind of like still standoffish. And he kisses her again, and she kind of like this is when she has a flashback, I think, to her youth.
Yeah, they're on the beach and they're like kissing on the beach. Yeah,
and her brother witness their dad in bed with his boyfriend Lenny, who you mentioned in the opening. And they're laughing at the 2 kids are like laughing. I'm like, this is also very mean. Homophobic,
yeah,
but that's another saying.
Well, I mean, they're little kids, and it's like,
but they're like not laughing like, oh no, they're laughing like, ooh, like,
yeah,
like you shouldn't be doing that. Blah, blah, blah. So again, I don't think this movie can be made today. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not sensitive, but I can see a lot of people bashing it. I'm like, just relax, people. It's just a fucking cheesy horror movie. But
yeah,
yes, and then we see like them in the bed, like looking at each other. You see the kids looking at each other in the bed, but I mean, you'll find out at the end, there's more meaning to that. But yes, so we get that flashback, which was like, okay, this is a little unexpected. And then, of course, because Paul's mad at Angela, Judy has to fucking step in and seduce him a little bit. And then Angela finds them kissing with Ricky in the fucking woods. And of course, Angela's upset. And this is when Ricky does the whole, like, fuck you to Judy. And then she does her little like soap opera moment with the teary eye. I'm like, girl, don't look that sympathy for me. You're not getting it. You are not getting it. But so Paul feels guilty and he tries to explain himself to Angela, but he's kind of like, I guess, shooed away by Judy and Meg because they come back up and they're like causing havoc again. Again, Meg does tag team with Judy a lot in this. Oh, it's nasty. Mm-hmm. And this is when they throw her in the water. It's a horrible scene.
Yes. So Meg is on her way, and fucking Paul totally leaves her out to dry. He's like, all right, I'm going to go in the water, and leaves Angela alone. And this is when she like freaks out on her and is like, you're going in the water. Like, it's totally.
Right. You want to go for a swim? She like pleads with them to say no, and they're just like, you're fucking going for a swim.
Yeah.
They throw her in. It's really, and this is also when Mel is fucking like, because he's questioning Ricky.
Yes.
And because he thinks Ricky's behind this shit. And he's like, won't let Ricky go. But he's also knows that like fucking Angela's about to be thrown in the water. He doesn't give a shit. He like sees all this happening and he's just like, Ricky, I know you did it, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, I think Ronnie or someone comes over and then like Mel lets go. And he's like, oh my God, Angela, you got thrown in the water. So then Ricky has to go fucking save Angela again in the water instead of the camp counselors. He should just be the head of the camp counselors, honestly, Ricky. Because he's more competent than any adult or counselor in this entire movie.
It's just ridiculous. I don't know her name, but the one blonde camp out.
Oh
counselor,
yeah, there was one nice girl.
Yeah, she was nice.
She defended Angela throughout the movie to Meg and to Judy.
She's kind of a throwaway character, so I don't remember her name. But shout out to that character. She was pretty nice.
Yeah, she was nice.
Other than her and Ricky, they all suck. So Ricky saves her again, and I love how they're walking up to the beach and the kids throw the fucking sand at them. The little kids.
Yeah. I don't mind Paul either. I don't think he's a bad guy. He just made a mistake with Judy. He has his moments, but he's not horrible, Paul.
I think they really encapsulated what it's like to be a kid like Paul,
right.
A boy of that age. Because like you said before, he got his kiss with Angela. It probably was his first kiss ever because he's kind of a nerdy kid. He doesn't like get a lot of girls. And then he tries to like on the beach, boys of that age have no like patience or subtlety. He tries to just like escalate things way too quick. And Angela, freaks out. Well, it turns out because she had like PTSD from like her past, but she wasn't ready for it. And Paul, kind of took that, and then Judy, he doesn't like Judy, but then Judy is flirting with him, and he can't help himself.
She seduces him.
Yeah,
literally.
He can't help himself, and so I don't think Paul is really I guess a bad guy, but it is kind of like
He has
uncomfortable to
questionable,
watch.
decision making
But
for
it,
sure. I mean, but he's a
like
kid,
13, yeah. So
right?
like we've all kind of been there, you know.
Right.
We've
And
all
he
been,
did push her too much. Like he pushed Angela maybe a little too much. He was trying to like unbutton her shirt. That was too far.
yeah.
But like other than that, like
It's
I mean, he's
believable
not the
though,
worst.
so you kind of feel a little sympathetic, but not really.
Yeah, it's like
Especially
I
in
don't mind if
today's
you
lens.
die, but
I
like
know.
if you don't, I'm kind of okay too. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Paul. I feel like
Yeah, he's like the morally gray character in this
right,
movie.
right. So I think they're like planning to have like one of that like I guess like a social like event I guess that they're trying to hold, and like this is when Paul apologizes to Angela, right?
Well,
And
yeah.
then
Well, this is like another never split up moment for me. So they know that there's a killer on the loose, and it's nighttime, and they're divvying up the schedule for the night, and they have one counselor, Gene,
go off with kids. Yeah.
go off and go camping with kids by himself, and they split
Right.
him off, and they all like laugh about it, like, oh yeah, you gotta go camping, like. Wouldn't you guys want to like stick together? Like what the
I know.
fuck? Like it's so weird. Like yeah, so that was kind of weird. So yeah, they have like a social event in the big barn or whatever, the big house, while Gene takes like the little boys. It was like a younger group of kids off camping.
And like 4 of those 6 kids end up getting killed.
Yeah, so I have a theory that I think it's the kids that threw the sand at her.
It wasn't a say. It is the kids who threw the
is?
sand at her, so it's very
Okay.
smart. Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah, it is smart.
But still,
because
that's a little. I mean, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, that's why I said at the beginning, like I don't know if like every death was totally justified because those kids probably didn't deserve it. They were just
like they were like little. They were like little
they were
kids,
like less than 10. Yeah, they were.
I'm like, ooh.
But for them to go there,
far, girl.
man, like they.
Oh yeah, I love when
those
movie
sleeping
goes
bags,
there.
man.
Yeah.
Holy shit! They didn't show the kill, obviously, but
no,
they were definitely dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I like when they go there, but I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they didn't deserve that.
So that happened after, like you said, the social event. She meets up with Paul, and she
she tells him,
"Yeah,
like,
go ahead."
He apologized, and she's like, okay, meet me at the water at blah blah blah.
Meet me at the water later.
Why would you meet someone's when, like you said, why would you be meeting up when there's fucking a killer like running around slaughtering this whole camp? So he's like, and he's so excited. He's like, yes, cha-ching. He's like, yeah, I'll meet you at the fucking water. It's so stupid.
I know. So that's when she sneaks away, and you know they meet at the water. What happens after?
No, we have to go back because we have to go to the Meg kill because remember Meg's trying to meet up with Mel and she has to
that's
shower.
the same night. Yeah, that's the same night. Yeah, go over that. So she goes to Judy's their bunk
dorm.
Again,
I guess,
she like lives with them. I don't know. Whatever. It's fucking weird. And she goes next door to like the empty cabin, and this is probably the. Would you say this is like the most iconic kill? I
in this movie,
I've heard people talk about this on Twitter and stuff, and I know that actress is like synonymous with curling irons now, so I know, like, I've seen people get the curling iron signed by this actress and stuff, so I know people love this kill. I think it's just so satisfying that Judy finally
you're talking about
gets
Meg,
it.
right? Meg, right? When she stabs
we're
her?
still talking about Meg. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Meg, because we didn't get to her kill yet. Yeah, the curling iron is fucking...
Okay, yeah. Sorry, my apologies, guys. So we're still on Meg, the counselor. I was jumping ahead to Judy.
Just because I forgot that kill. Meg, she's going to meet fucking Mel for a date, but she wants to shower first. So I guess the girls... There's a line. She's like, would you let me cut you? And they're like, fuck you, bitch. No. So she goes next door to like an empty... a shower, and then, you know, she gets stabbed through the back. You know, but it like drags it down. She almost gets like, you know, really like gutted in the back. So thank God she got killed. And then your kill's next. Mel finds her body though. Mel finds Meg's body, and then he actually is upset because it's Meg.
And talk about melodramatic. This is like totally like, you know, a Hitchcockian scene where he's like against the wall and he's just like, oh, Meg, oh no, like that was his, you know, time to shine in that moment. So totally.
Then we get the lit curling iron scene.
Yeah,
pretty insane.
So this is what I was talking about. This I would say is probably the most iconic kill of the movie. Would you agree?
It's, I think, the most
talked about,
crazy because it's kind of like a little maybe No, I mean the character deserves to
Yeah.
get killed, but it's a little like borderline, like she's getting raped by a curling iron.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, I think that's why people like really,
Yeah.
talk about it still to this day.
It's not my favorite kill, but it's definitely like a whoa moment. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so satisfying.
Yeah.
It's so good because, like you said, she is the main bully in this movie, and like for her to finally get it, and
Yeah, she
it's
needs
right,
to die.
it's right after she's hooking up with that boy, and the boy is
When
like,
he leaves,
"Oh,
yeah.
I don't want to get caught," and she gets all like pissed off at the boy, like she basically wanted to like have sex, and
Yeah.
something was about to penetrate her, and it wasn't that boy.
Yeah, so she's dead finally.
So that's the infamous scene where Ricky's actor is in the doorway. And
yes.
You get that.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if it's intentional that you're supposed to see that much of his face now that we have better like technology to see it in HD.
I think it is because it's trying to mislead you still.
It's trying to like,
and it makes sense in the end of the movie, honestly, like, male face, blah blah blah. It makes sense when you're thinking about it. So yeah, that's our two bullies back to back. Our two like lead bullies killed back to back, which is always good. And then obviously everyone's going to a panic because there's actual deaths everywhere. And Mel still thinks Ricky's the killer. He beats him pretty much. Mel like beats Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mel dies. I love that. This is a cool scene too. It's typical like arrow through the fucking throat.
Yeah.
It's cool though. That's cool.
Yeah.
But he does say, he's like, it's you. It can't be you. And then he gets killed. So you get another hint of like, okay,
it's not Ricky.
Not Ricky because he says it can't be you. Right.
Yeah. To an inch of his life. You think maybe
which is
Ricky's
like,
dead for a little while.
I'm like, first of all, fuck you. Ricky is like the ultimate bro. Like,
well,
what
he killed his Meg
dude
in his eyes, so he needed to get justice.
Disgusting.
I know.
So I like that he's shot in the throat and killed finally. So he's really finally killed, by the real killer. Yeah, I like that kill. It's cool. I like the blood that shoots out of his neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. So I think this is when like the police like start searching for the missing campers.
This is when all hell breaks loose. Ronnie and all the counselors, Jean, they're all freaking out. Jean finds the little kids in the sleeping bag. Ronnie and the girl find Meg in the shower after Mel found her in the shower. And they start all right, who's missing? And they find out that it's Ricky's missing, Angela is missing, and Paul is missing. I think those are the three. There might have been one other character, but those are the big three. So they go and look for those three, and we know where Ricky is, and then we know that Angela. We know that Angela and Paul are supposed to meet on the water, so they're kind of unaccounted for still. Yeah.
Yeah. So we like do a quick glimpse to Paul and Angela, and like Angela's like, "Let's go for a swim," and again Paul's like, "Oh fuck yes, let's go for a swim." He's like, "We don't have bathing suits." She's like, "Take your clothes off." He's like, "Ooh, okay." I'm like, "Oh god, Paul. You're an idiot." And then we cut back and the police, they discover Ricky, but thankfully he's not dead. He's just unconscious. But he you see him move a little bit. So he's alive. Our dude Ricky's alive.
Thank God.
And then this next scene is where you get, pretty iconic, shit happening in the movie. The climax of the movie. I think it's Ronnie and Susie might be the girl who we're talking about who was nice.
That sounds.
I don't know. I might be making it up, but Ronnie, I'm just gonna say
it is
Susie.
I see it here now. I see her picture. It's Susie. Good call.
Because I don't know why but I remember like they're yelling at each other. But yeah, so I think Ronnie and Susie, they're the ones who approach a naked Angela, but she's just like humming and she's like clutching something in her arms. So we get a slow build up, and it's a hunting knife that she's holding on to and Paul's severed head. So goodbye, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul is dead. So again, that's pretty awesome. I love that scene. When you have a creepy humming by a kid in a movie, it's always gonna get me.
Yeah.
It's just ugh. So then obviously they're all shocked because Angela is the killer, but Angela's not only the killer, Angela's not Angela. Angela is Peter, who supposedly died at the beginning, but it was really the girl who died. So
yep. Which
we
I
get the
flashback.
flashback.
Spoiled in the beginning. Sorry, guys. But we gave the warning already, so hopefully.
Right, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So obviously it's revealed that the real Angela died in the boat accident with her dad,
Mm-hmm.
and Peter survived. But her Aunt Martha, she already had a boy, and she gained custody of Peter, but she wanted a girl. So she decided to raise Peter as a girl because she always wanted a girl and already had a son. Um, Fucking crazy shit
Yes,
right there.
that'll
What a
fuck you
fucking
up.
demented woman. Um, and it obviously is also like kind of implied because we got that flashback earlier that Peter, who was really Angela, was like really mentally, I guess, scarred or affected by seeing her dad with another dude.
Yeah,
In the
yeah.
homosexual experience. So again, it's like, ooh, they're tipping some lines here. But so then we actually see when we cut back. So that's the big reveal that Aunt Martha is a fucking crazy bitch and forced this girl with so much PTSD and trauma to this boy to be a girl. Um, not her choice. You know, this wasn't. She didn't choose to do this. And obviously she has some weird issues with the whole homosexual shit with the dad. So she's so confused. That he's so confused. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so very confused person right there. And Aunt Martha made him even more confused. But then we go back and we get the iconic like ending shot of like Angela standing up, covered in blood, and we pull back a little bit and we see the body in full view, and you see, you know, there's a penis.
It's a guy.
Then you see
Yep.
like the weird like hissing, like kind of like her face, so like her mouth's open, and
Dude,
she's like
it's
smiling but not. And then you just see
yeah.
like Susie and Ronnie's like just like oh my god,
I
their
know.
cheesy over the top reaction, and then she just looks at them and she just like lets out like it's almost like a hissing, and she's just like opening her mouth, smiling and hissing, and you just freeze frame on her face, and then that's how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot's happening. A lot's happening at the end of this movie.
Oh yeah. So, well, this is what makes the movie so iconic. Not just the twist, but that image of Peter with Angela's face on it, with Felissa Rose's face, like with the mouth open and the eyes to the side.
Yeah.
It'll stick with you. You'll never forget that image. Like it's such a powerful image, and yeah, it goes out with a bang for sure. It's I
Yes.
don't have a problem with it. I like it.
No.
I
do
think
too. It's one of the great
it's
twist
perfect.
endings.
It's perfect for this movie. I think it's so stupid and over the top and unrealistic, but that's the point. And they really drive it home at the end. Like, we do not take this movie seriously. I think that was the director's way of saying, you know, I'm just gonna throw this twist in because this movie is fun and it's a fun twist and it's iconic now. So it's great. I agree with you.
Yeah, that or I think he wanted to be like, I want to shock the fuck out of people. I'm gonna throw in this twist to shock these fuckers and be like, oh, they're gonna leave the movie talking about something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was
For
definitely
sure.
the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my god. Like I might have thought Angela was the killer, but I did not think Angela was Peter.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So but again, if you go back to the beginning, you rewatch it when Aunt Martha said, you know, don't tell anyone how you got these physicals, guys. You know, it all
They
clicks.
throw
and all
enough
that
in there
shit.
to where
Yeah.
you when you watch it again, it makes sense. For sure.
So yeah, poor I guess poor Angela. She went through a lot
Poor
between
Angela,
her
for
dad
sure.
dying and
And
then Aunt Martha fucking her up. She was probably already so confused after, like I said, she saw her dad with the other guy, and then she saw her dad and his sister die, and then her aunt's forcing her to be a girl. I'm like, whoa,
mhm.
it's a lot of
Yeah,
mental baggage right
it's a
there.
lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
And then you're getting bullied nonstop when you're like so confused in your own body. It's just like if you think about it, it's kind of a fucked up situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So whew.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where, you know, the main killer at the end, you feel bad for. Really, I mean, I feel bad, and you feel sympathetic, even though they just killed like mostly terrible people. So, but also some kids as well that didn't deserve it. But yeah,
Right.
man, Angela, poor Angela / Peter, poor Peter. I don't even know. Like,
I
does
know
she know that she's Peter still? Like, that's what like is so fucked up. Like, does she call herself Angela now? Like, she's
Right.
got to be so
Well,
confused. Like, oh, it just
it's
opens up so
so
many
mentally like she was fucked up
terrible.
mentally, man.
I know. And if this was like a serious movie, they would have done like a prequel where they did like a character study. But this is not a serious movie, so we're just left with that image, and then we're left to sit with it, and we get the we get one more scene at the end with Aunt Martha, right? That kind of reveals everything. Yeah. So we get one more Aunt Martha scene. I love Aunt Martha, just how creepy she is.
She's so fucking crazy.
It's Peter, I think, coming to the house for the first time when they bring him in. Is that what the scene is at the end?
Yeah.
And she kind of like confirms,
she's explaining
oh, you're not Peter. No, you're a girl. You're Angela. Right. Yeah.
She's like, Angela. Oh, Angel. That's a great name. I'm like, oh my god. Fucking creepy.
Real quick, before we wrap things up, I just want to give a shout out to, they credit him as Frank LaFlick. It's the cop at the end of the movie with the fakest mustache I think I've ever seen in the movie.
Do you know why?
What's that?
Because he was in the scene earlier when he found the body earlier. Remember he came when he found the dude under the boat? He had a mustache there, but he had to do a different role, so he shaved it, and he couldn't grow back in enough time because they had to have him come back for the ending of the movie.
Oh, that's great.
So that's why it looks
so
fake.
They slapped on literally the cheapest mustache they could find. It makes me laugh every time. It's hilarious. So shout out to the actor's name is Alan Bretton, but I guess his name is Frank LaFlick. So that's kind of a funny name. But yeah.
So what do you think the ending, like, what do you think they're trying to... I mean, they're probably just doing it to shock us, but like the animalistic like version that Angela turns out to be at the end, like, do you think she's just totally lost it? Or do you think they're trying to like what is going on with her? What do you think? She's just completely gone mad and she's just going to be...
Yeah. I've never actually thought about it in that term,
because you can go a lot of different ways.
It's a fun movie, that I don't really.
You don't want to think about it too much because.
Yeah, what do you have something in mind? Is that
no? I was just thinking like I could see people because when I went on like Google, I was like, I wonder what people, because today's day and age.
Analyze everything.
I'm like, I wonder if people are going to be like, are they saying that like this kind of person's a monster? And I saw that there's some feedback where like people look down on it, but the other was like, it's a fucking cheesy. Actually, a lot of like I see it's like a lot of people watch it during like Pride Month because I guess it's like because it's so over the top and cheesy and gay and like there's dudes in short shorts and there's like it's just too over the top. So there's some people who embrace it, but some people do like oh, are they trying to demonize whatever? I'm like, oh my god, just fucking stop! It's an '80s movie.
I know. I mean, I know this movie has been brought up recently, especially with our landscape today. I not that I reject it, but Angela is not a trans person. She was forced, or Peter was forced to be Angela. So I don't really think of it as a trans issue. And I know I've seen that being brought up, and everyone's opinion is valid. But personally, the way I look at it is this person was forced to be something that they're not by their caregiver. So, I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, did the filmmaker try to like, I guess, demonize her by having that like creepy...
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think it was just him trying to get a shock. Yeah, I think it was shock value first and foremost. And two, it was I guess if you had to ask me, I think it's just Peter's like fucked up at this point.
From all that mental trauma.
There's no going back. Like he literally lost it. And I think
he's
also like arrested and there's no coming back from that.
After he saw his dad, I think maybe he got like confused about himself, like, and especially after his Aunt Martha's forcing him to be a girl, like maybe he's confused with his gender identity. He doesn't know either. So I just know maybe at the end he's like, I'm just fucking I'm like an animal. I don't even fucking care. I'm like an animalistic. I'm going crazy. So I just think it's just interesting.
The way I always interpreted the gay scene with Peter's dad was, I always think he had like a secret love affair with that guy, and that wasn't known. I mean, especially for the 80s, that stuff was usually kept behind closed doors because he was a father. So, they had a mother. So I think that's why they were giggling and stuff, because I don't think he was like out and proud.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of what fucked them up, because they were used to seeing him like with their mother or whatever.
Okay.
And like just seeing him with like a secret lover, like catching him like that. I think that's why, again, that kind of confused Peter. Like he's now Angela, but he's still a boy, but like a boy is hitting on him, but that's okay because my dad used to kiss boys, so it's still okay. I think that kind of all connected,
Yeah.
and kind of kudos to the director, the filmmaker, for kind of connecting all those. But I didn't have a problem with it necessarily. I
Don't take any of this shit seriously, guys. It's a
yeah
fucking movie that came out in 1983. Give it a break.
yeah
You have to watch a movie in the lens when the time it came out. It's just stop taking everything so seriously. It's a stupid, cheesy 80s horror movie
hmm
that's shocking us because it just wants to shock us, not trying to make a statement. I just wanted to bring it up because I always see them. Like, of course, there's some, you
hmm
know,
I
keyboard people
personally
who
don't
want to
think
call it
that the
out.
director was like a homophobe, adding in that I
No,
think it was more the kids not understanding what their dad was doing
right.
more than
Right, and
anything.
you can see. I mean, you
So
can take that away from because there's scenes even when Judy, she's like, "What are you like a queer?" It's like you can see obviously people are bullying, but that's what bullies
well,
do.
of course,
Um,
and that's how people talked. So
right. So
yeah,
it's just
again, guys, you have
I
to.
like it's smart that you can pull that from it. Like it is ahead of its time in that aspect because he didn't even know he was making all this commentary.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
for sure.
overall, I just think it's just a fun, stupid '80s movie. Just watch it, turn your brain off, and enjoy the ride.
Okay, cool. Well, it sounds like we both have a good time with this movie. So
Yeah, it's good.
why don't we? You want to do the never split up moments first, and then we'll get into our scores.
What's my never split up moment? Um, I don't want to do a typical one. I just want to do something fun.
Yeah, so you won the poll, so you get to go first. If you want, I mean, you get the option. So why don't you go ahead? And then
Uh, I don't want to do anything for one of like the kids doing something stupid or splitting up. I know the guy took those kids separately to go camping, but whatever. Um, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do something. I think that Angela should have maybe finished off Artie. That's what my gonna be. She really should have killed Artie because that's bothering me that he still could be alive. So fucking boil him and then slice him up, Angela. You finish the job. Um, yeah, I don't like that he made it out. Such a terrible person. I would have liked if they saw him like suffer for a couple minutes and then right before someone comes to find him, she's like, "Okay, you suffered for a little bit. Now let me finish you off." Just because I do like that he suffered a little bit, but yeah, he should have died. I don't like that he got rolled off in the fucking ambulance.
Mhm.
So yeah, Angela did not kill Artie, who like literally tried to molest her and rape her.
yeah. Okay,
So
cool.
that's mine.
So that's
I
your
don't want to
pick.
give it to the kids or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple different ones. I told you I was bothered by the bathroom scene where with the honey, the
Oh yeah,
beehive,
yeah.
but that I'm not gonna pick that. That's not really in the spirit. I mean, I was yelling at the TV, but I'm gonna pick what I brought up. How the counselors decide to one, give Meg a night off, even though there's a killer on the loose, and two, split the kids up and have one
Okay.
counselor go camping with the youngest kids there. Um, just talk about Ronnie being an airhead Ronnie, clueless Ronnie, man. Especially Ronnie, because he's the one who like really knows the most, because he like interacted with the cops and talked to Mel, and he found a lot of the dead bodies. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with it's Gene
Gene.
splitting up, even though he was told to, with the little kids and going camping. And then on top of that, we didn't talk about this. Gene gets woken up by a couple of the kids that want to sleep in the car, and then leaves the other kids alone. That's how they
Mhm.
die, because Gene wasn't there. So not only does he take them camping, but he leaves them alone. And he's thinking about it, because he does a double take, and then he's like, they'll be fine. And then he
Well,
leaves
he's
them.
talking back to
So
me. He's like, well, "Guys, you're killing me with this. You're killing me. Like, come on, you're
yeah.
supposed to stay here." And then it's like, "All right, we
And
gotta
then he
go to
does
the
it
car."
anyway. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Gene. Yeah. And the little kids camping.
Poor kids.
Poor kids. I know.
Yeah, throwing sand at someone does not justify murder.
Well, yeah, when you're Peter and you have a lot
Oh
going
yeah, all
on.
these
So
issues.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's get into our scores.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Do you want to go first? Who went first for the last movie we did? What we do?
For X, I think it was me. I would be guessing. I think it might have been me,
Okay.
but it doesn't
Oh, it
matter.
doesn't
I could,
matter.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Let me
Whoever
hear
wants to
your
go.
let me hear your score.
Okay. just to reiterate what I said, especially at the beginning of the episode, this movie is really good to rewatch, and that's a big factor for me with slashers, is the rewatchability of them. If I'm watching a slasher and I could never see myself watching it again, it's kind of a knock. So I'm never gonna give a stupid slasher like this like a 10 out of 10. Like we're not in that territory, because I think that's reserved for more serious movies and more all-timers like this. But this knows what it is. So like I almost wish we had like a separate scale for movies like this. But we don't. So I'm gonna give this a pretty high score though, because I really do like this movie, and not just the ending. Like I said, I love the writing. I love how terrible the characters are. It's very comical. I love Ricky. Ricky's the boss. He's awesome. I want to be his friend. Angela has cemented herself as one of the iconic slasher characters, especially with that ending. I'm gonna give it a 7.7.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
Very high
Really
for this type of movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this type of movie. It's fun. All right, I like that. That's good. So yeah, definitely check this one out, guys. No one seems to really like this slasher movie. Yeah, I like it too. I mean, it's a great time. I really like it. I will never watch it unless it's like the summer season. I'll never watch it. It's cringy. It's stupid. It's not trying to be anything. It's not. I have a good time with it. Some of the times I find my eyes wandering. I'm like, all right, let's wrap this shit up and get to the kill. But overall, I friggin' have a blast with it. It's good, cheesy fun. It's not in my top tier of 80s cheesy slashers, but it's a great time. I'm gonna give it a really solid 6.8.
Okay, cool. 6.8. Okay.
I
definitely got that sense that I liked it a little bit more than you. I definitely have a little bit more fun with this, not just with the kills. I definitely love to escape into this camp, and I think I guess enjoy the characters a bit more than you do, even the bullies. So it makes sense.
The only character I like is Ricky.
I
love Ricky. So yeah, a really good. I mean, for what it is, it's you can't go wrong. That's why 6.8. It's a really good score. And check out the 2 sequels because you have to catch up on those.
Yeah, definitely the 3rd one. And you said the 4th one's not worth it, but definitely the 3rd one.
Part 2 and 3.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
Angela goes back to her crazy antics.
Yeah. All right, awesome. So that pretty much wraps it up, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Sleepaway Camp.
Thanks for listening, guys. That was Sleepaway Camp. We had a ton of fun reviewing this one. I had a ton of fun with my rewatch of this. It just, like you said, especially in the summer months, that's why we wanted to do it now to kind of kick off summer. We're probably going to get to at least a couple more of those summer movies that we talked about last week. So again, check out that episode, guys, our favorite summer horror movies, and you might get a sneak peek of what we're going to cover in the future as we roll along, especially towards 4th of July and stuff. We're definitely going to cover some more of those movies. But until then, this is the Never Split Up podcast. Please follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at neversplituppod. And if you're watching on YouTube, even if you're just listening, check us out on YouTube and give us a subscribe. We really want to get the subscribe numbers up. That would really mean a lot to us because we can unlock new features on YouTube. They kind of gatekeep some features when you don't have enough subscribers on YouTube, which is really dumb, but I guess it incentivizes people to grow their channel, which is fine. We don't mind, grinding it out, but if you could please give us a subscribe on YouTube, that would mean a lot. And vote in our poll. We just did our Never Split Up poll. We want to hear from you guys. Do you have a different opinion? What was your favorite Never Split Up moment? And did you like this movie? Let us know if you like the movie. And that's about it. Until next time, I'm Nolan. That's Anthony. This is the Never Split Up podcast, and we'll see you later. Bye.